Hey there guys, it's Kyra from Herbal Moon Goddess, and today I'm really going back to basics with tarot because I know like a lot of the time I'm just kind of like jumping in and like, trust your intuition. But what if you're someone who's just got a deck of tarot cards and you don't know where to begin? So if that's you, stay tuned because in this episode, I'm going to be guiding you through how to do your first reading, like going back to those basics of actually doing a tarot reading. So let's dive in and start reading the cards. So if you've just got a tarot deck or maybe even an oracle deck, what I'm talking about today can be applied for any sort of deck. The first thing that you want to do when you get a deck is cleanse it. So you really just want to cleanse that energy. Cards and other things can pick up on energies from people around them or places that they've been. So I always like to start with cleansing. You may like to use a smoke bundle or a smudge stick, or sitting your cards in the sunlight for a few hours can also be really effective. And of course using a selenite crystal as well is super cleansing. So just sit a bit of selenite on your cards, leave it there overnight, and in the morning they will feel nice and fresh. So cleanse the energy first. And of course, if you're like in a pinch, you can just blow the cards. Just use your breath to just blow that energy out. So once you've cleansed your cards, we've got a clean slate to work with. So holding your cards in your hands and just visualizing your energy coming out through your palms into your deck. So some people like to visualize a white light coming out of their hands into the cards, but just do what feels best for you. Just visualize and feel that energy being transferred from your hands into your cards. So there's other ways that you can do this as well. It's all around kind of aligning your energy with the cards, and when that happens, I find you get better readings because you're in tune with your deck. So other things that you can do, you can sleep with your deck of cards. You may like to wrap it up in a scarf or just pop it in a pillowcase. Put it underneath your pillow or on your bedside table, whatever feels best for you. That can really help you create that deeper energetic relationship with your cards as well. And if you're doing a reading for someone else, if they are there with you in person, give them the deck of cards to hold to put their energy in. So once the cards are feeling pretty energized, then the next thing to do is to shuffle. Now, shuffling, the more tarot reading you do, then the better you're going to get at shuffling. So if you can't shuffle, just, have a go because you'll pick it up with practice. It's also perfectly fine, especially if it's a brand new deck and all the cards are in order. Get a shoebox or something like that and pop the deck in there and just like give the box a big shake, and that will help disperse the cards so they get out of order and they flip around. Some will get reversed and whatever, and it really kind of makes it a bit more random, because I'm sure many tarot readers can agree that sometimes you get a deck and you don't shuffle it as well as you thought you did, and you start doing a reading and it's like the Four of Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles. So yeah, making sure that if it is a brand new deck, really take that time to give it a real good shuffle. So you can also just lie the cards out on a table and just mess them up on the table as well, or on the floor if that's easier. So mixing the cards up, shuffling in whatever way works for you. And then it will depend on what you're doing next. Maybe you have a spread that you'd like to use, or maybe there's a particular question that you'd like to ask, or maybe you just want to see what the cards have to say. So if you have a spread, just start pulling the cards out at random, or as you're shuffling, you may find cards just pop out. So you can just pull from anywhere in the deck. I do like to, if I am doing it that way, I do like to use my hand to kind of feel over the cards, and sometimes I'll feel an energetic pull towards a card, and I'll know that that's the card that I'm meant to pull out. But, you know, sometimes you don't feel that, and sometimes cards don't jump out, so it's completely fine just to whack out random cards as well. Do whatever feels best for you. Like, there's no right or wrong way to read the tarot cards. So anything I'm saying here, you can really change it up and personalize it to suit you. But really, the basics, you need to cleanse the cards, charge the cards, and then that shuffling element helps as well. So pulling out some cards, I'm going to shuffle along, and I'm going to pull a card now as well, doing this with you. So if you have your deck as well, feel free to shuffle along and pull a card too. So for the purposes of today, I might just do like a quick little 3-card reading. So let's say we've got a 3-card spread, and it might just be about like the past, present, and future. And you may have like a specific situation or problem in mind, like maybe you're thinking about a relationship or your business or your finances or something like that, your job. So I'm going to pull out 3 cards. So yeah, as you see, I just like to just pull out cards when I feel like it, like as I'm shuffling. Like sometimes I'll just feel a card just rub me up the wrong way when I'm shuffling, and it's like, yeah, okay. Okay, so I've pulled out my 3 cards. So I like to start a reading with all the cards face down, and then I'll flip them over one by one. So the first card for our example today is the past. And so I'll flip over that card, and I have the medicine wheel, number 10. For those using a more traditional deck, this can be also known as the Wheel of Fortune or the Wheel of Life. And so for the past, so reading the actual cards, you have multiple options. You may have a guidebook that came with your deck, and you're welcome to look in the guidebook to interpret the cards. There's also so many other books or websites, heaps of other places that you can turn to find meaning. But my favorite way is to just trust your intuition. And so you may look at the card, look at the pictures, look at the symbolism, look at the colors. There's often a lot of visual clues on the card. And so you can use those visual clues to intuitively come up with what this card is saying. So what I'm seeing here with this reversed medicine wheel, number 10 on the major arcana, is that in the past for this particular reading, perhaps there's like something to do with cycles of life, and like maybe like not wanting to follow through with something. Like maybe the person in question was trying to accomplish something, but things just got too hard and they just couldn't continue with it. So they kind of gave up or stepped back from this opportunity. So that's just one way to interpret this card. So for the second card, for the present, I will flip that one over next. I've got the Page of Swords. So for this card, for the present, it's like this person is finding a fresh perspective and sweeping away like any negative thoughts and embracing a new positive outlook towards the situation. So there's like this real change in like what we saw with the past, with the medicine wheel reversed. Like it was like that inability to move forward. And now it's like they're reconsidering and they're kind of feeling a bit more optimistic about where they're going in the future. So for the final card, using our 3-card past, present, future spread, I've got the Knight of Pentacles reversed. So in this position for the future, I might see this card as though moving forward in the future, this person might be a bit more thoughtful and considerate about where they're spending their money, or how they're using the material stuff in their lives. It's like they're stepping away from risky behavior and they're taking a more considered approach, maybe combining a bit more strategy rather than just jumping in without a plan. So yeah, for this person, for whoever this reading was for, it's quite positive about being positive and finding a new perspective and changing ways. So when doing a reading, I do like to look at all the cards in combination with each other. So generally I will go through first and I'll read each of those cards individually and see what they mean in that context. And then you can look back and see, like, are there any sort of common threads tying these cards together? Like you might find there's a few cards in the same suit. Maybe there's a few major arcana cards signifying significant life changes or major events coming up. Or maybe there's like a bunch of fours or a bunch of queens or something like that. There can be like a tying thread, some underlying theme that ties the cards together. So I do like to look out for that when reading the cards too. So I hope that's given you a great introduction to reading the cards and hopefully doing your first reading. It doesn't need to be hard or overly complicated when doing a tarot reading. Like, you don't have to really set up a sacred space or do anything too elaborate. Like, you can just be sitting there at your kitchen table and just be like, hey, I wonder what the cards have to say, and just shuffle and pull out a few cards. Don't overthink it. And then, of course, when interpreting the cards, don't overthink that either. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. And I'd also love to remind you that if you would like to book in for a tarot and astrology reading this month, then you can get 10% off all readings using the code GOODVIBES at checkout. So jump on to herbalmoongoddess.com to book your reading. I'm so excited to dive into the cards and your astrology chart to help you find some deeper answers to any questions that are on your mind.